Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. We start the show with the tragedy that has unfolded in Wayanad. Over 150 people have died and about 186 have been injured after a series of landslides hit Kerala's Wayanad district in the midst of heavy rains yesterday. The army has successfully evacuated more than 1,000 people from affected areas so far, but hundreds of people are still fear-trapped, with government agencies carrying out rescue operations in the affected areas. Now, several families have reported that their loved ones still remained untraceable. Politics also on this issue has intensified. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, speaking in the Parliament today, said that the centre had given an early warning to the Kerala state government about heavy rainfall and landslides on the 23rd of July. The Home Minister also said that the warnings continued for another 3 days, and on the 26th of July, the state government was informed that there would be heavy downpour which could actually trigger landslides and slush, risking people's safety. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, of course, has reacted to this sharply, saying that this is not the time for blame games and that no red alert was issued by the centre to the state. Remember, Wayanad, home to several coffee growers and spice farmers, elephants, several tribal groups, a place in northern Kerala known to have been prone to landslides for years, has also been at the centre of the man versus wild debate. Farmers here have been worried about the impact of unusual rise in temperature during the day and a significant drop at night on the crops, and this tragedy has only aggravated the problems of people in Wayanad. So while all hands are on the deck, clearly a lot more needs to be done, and that's what brings us to what happened 14 years ago, which is a report on the ecology of Wayanad. But before that, let's look at some reactions that played out today.
23 जुलाई को केरल सरकार को अर्ली वार्निंग भारत सरकार की ओर से दी गई थी। 23 जुलाई को 7 दिन पहले, फिर 24 को गई, फिर 25 को गई, 26 तारीख को मान्यवर ये कहा गया कि 20 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा वर्षा होगी, भारी वर्षा होगी, लैंडस्लाइड होने की संभावना है, मड भी रस होकर आ सकता है और लोग इसके अंदर दबकर मर भी सकते हैं।
കേന്ദ്ര ആഭ്യന്തരമന്ത്രി ഇങ്ങനെയൊരു മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയിരുന്നു. എന്നിട്ട് കേരളം എന്താണ് ചെയ്തത് എന്നൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇവിടെ വസ്തുതകളെല്ലാം എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാവുന്നതാണല്ലോ. അവിടെ 115നും 204 മില്ലിമീറ്ററിനും ഇടയിൽ മഴ പെയ്യും എന്നായിരുന്നു കേന്ദ്ര കാലാവസ്ഥാ കേന്ദ്രത്തിന്റെ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ്. ഇന്നലെ ഞാൻ അതിലൊരു ഭാഗം പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. എന്നാൽ എത്ര മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്? ആദ്യത്തെ 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 200 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ, അടുത്ത 24 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 372 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴ. ഇതാണ് ഈ പ്രദേശത്ത് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ 48 മണിക്കൂറിനുള്ളിൽ 572 മില്ലിമീറ്റർ മഴയാണ് പെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ മുന്നറിയിപ്പ് നൽകിയതിലും എത്രയോ അധികമായിരുന്നു അത്.
So that was a lot of back and forth between Chief Minister of Kerala Pinarayi Vijayan and Home Minister of the country Amit Shah. Now, 14 years ago, an ecologist, Madhav Gadgil, who was then the chairman of the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel, had recommended that 75% of the Western Ghats be declared environmentally sensitive because of the dense forest and the large presence of a large number of endemic species. Dr. Gadgil joins us for a chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Gadgil, for speaking to NDTV. In 2011, sir, the panel that you led proposed to categorize the ecologically sensitive areas and zones across Western Ghats in different classifications. You had in your report clear restrictions and regulations on what kind of construction activities could be allowed there, but of course the recommendations were not accepted, and the government felt that they would be limiting for developmental activities. We are of course now witnessing a trail of devastation today. Do you think that this disaster could have been stopped or at least prevented if those suggestions that you gave 11 years ago, 14 years ago could have been put in place?
I mean, you cannot say stop for sure, but certainly their frequency, their intensity would have been reduced. That I can say with certainty.
Also, sir, your report specifically warned against anti-environmental activities, specifically in Mepadi, where a major landslide wiped out an entire village. The affected areas, if you look at it, in Wayanad, were all classified as highly sensitive. Of course, the government then appointed another panel that was led by Dr. Kasturi Rangan, and that panel came up with another report. The Gadgil panel, your panel, had recommended the entire Western Ghats to be notified as CSAs. Then there was some sort of dilution. What was your experience working in this panel and, of course, learnings?
See, Western Ghats, you see, in a sense, all of them are hill area. And there is a basic mandate which we had from the ministry, which said that hill areas of the country should all be considered ecologically sensitive. But we, the panel, thought that of course, you can consider all of Western Ghats as ecologically sensitive, but you cannot moderate all activities everywhere. You cannot, for instance, say ban absolutely all mining on Western Ghats.
Right.
There would be localities where mining can be justified, and those would be what we call ecologically lowly sensitive. So 3 categories: highly sensitive, medium, and low.
Right.
And in low sensitive areas, certainly, because after all, we do want a number of such activities to continue, so they will not be possible and not reasonable to ban everywhere. And in the most highly sensitive areas, however, it would be very desirable to ban
Absolutely.
some of these activities, such as rock quarrying, and mining. These are certainly very damaging to the environment, but not just environment, damaging for the local communities also.
Right.
And another aspect of our panel's recommendations was that you must take local communities on board.
I think that
You
is the
must
most
get
important
their
point, Dr. Gadgil, the wisdom of the local communities, because Wayanad is also seen as home to several tribal groups, and that is clearly what the Gadgil Committee report also talks about, to ensure that commercial activity are completely limited and local wisdom is something that is used to ensure the ecology of the place is preserved. Also joining us now is Anil Anthony, national spokesperson of the BJP. We also have Henry Austin, spokesperson of the Congress Party, and Anand Kochikudi, who's a journalist and columnist from Kerala. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. Starting with you, Anil, I know that, the BJP does not have too much, accountability when it comes to what is happening in Wayanad, because clearly the Congress Party is blamed for not really looking into reports, several reports, including the Gadgil Committee report. And of course, the left government, subsequent left governments have also really empowered and promoted commercial activities in Wayanad. But clearly, the notification of ESZ has not really come for Wayanad, even from the Central Environment Ministry. Is that something that the centre should be looking at, considering that your party has been at the helm of India for almost 10 years now? In fact, this is the 11th year.
Thank you, Vasudha. So first of all, the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to make it very clear that this is not a time for finger pointing and politics. This is the worst disaster, the worst landslide the state of Kerala has seen in history. And this is a time for everybody to come together and ensure that people of Kerala gets maximum support. There are still a lot of people who are trapped under mud. Rescue operations are going on. And we are ensuring that there is relief and rescue and with time rehabilitation also. So that is our primary concern. And immediately after that incident happened, the Honorable Prime Minister as well as our central government, we are taking stock of the situation. The Indian Army, the Air Force, as well as NDRF are deployed on the ground, and rescue operations are going on. So this is our priority at this moment. There is no other priority. At the same time, because of the politicization that is happening, especially by certain opposition parties, the CPM, which is ruling the state, because of that, our Honorable Home Minister himself had to give some clarifications, because this is not a time for politicization at all.
Right.
At the same time, we also need to understand that this is something which is a recurring issue in Kerala. For example, in 2018, the state of Kerala had a floods, which was known as the worst flood in 100 years. Next year, again, repeated. And this time again, let's say a few days back, as early as 18th of June, the Honorable Prime Minister and our government had set up the early warning system. The project was started in 2016.
Right.
And as early as 18th of July, there was our early warning system that said that the western coast of Kerala would be having very heavy rains, more than usual amount of rain. And we had notified the Kerala government. And 23rd and 25th, again, we had notified the Kerala government. Since not much action was seen, the Home Minister himself took the initiative and sent 9 battalion of NDRF to the locations. So the central government definitely had been acting, even if the state government was not acting. We also need to look at the past history, where as early as 2011, when it was a UPA government at the center, as well as the state government, which was again led by the Congress in the state, where in 2011, the Madhav Gadgil report,
Yes,
which is
absolutely.
the Western Technology Export Committee, they had given a very clear report as early as 2011.
Yeah.
But 5 years of the Congress government and 3 more years of the UPA government, that report was never implemented. Later, the left government also never implemented the report, which is because of certain politics.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, like I said, this is not a time for finger pointing, but at the same time,
let me
we
take
need
an
to look.
response from Henry. Henry, today KC Venugopal, who's also the General Secretary of your party and also the MP from Kalapuya, said that everybody has to be together because opposition is also going with great heart to be together, and Anil is also saying the same thing. But he also blamed the union government. But let me just hold on to that thought. The Speaker of Kerala Assembly is Ian Samsheed is also on the line with us. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV, sir. Tell us, have you reached Wayanad? How will you explain and how would you describe the intervention and proactive measures that the state government is taking, and also the assistance by the centre in this regard?
Yeah. The Wayanad incident, unspeakable tragedy occurred in Wayanad, my party. The government is coordinating, Chief Minister is coordinating the rescue operations. Along with ministers are already camped there. Chief Minister is visiting tomorrow. And also all party meeting has called tomorrow. Most probably, we hope, we all are optimists, we hope we will overcome this tough situation. So you know that more than that toll is nearly 200. The people has lost their life. Along with the help of centre, the state government is sorting out the issues. So rescue operations is going on.
Right.
So
Okay. Mr. Jamshid, today, I know that this is the time when everyone is involved in rescue operations, but Home Minister Amit Shah has said that your government was warned not once but several times, and the first warning came on July 23rd about, the upcoming rains and that it could also trigger landslides. Did you actually receive any alert from the centre? And the Home Minister also talked about how ill-equipped the state government was despite the alerts.
This is not the time to blame. Very unfortunate statement comes from the Home Minister. So I don't know in such statements. This is the time to stand unitedly. Then only we can sort it out the issue. Very, very unfortunate statement comes from the Home Minister. For the Home Minister's statement, our Chief Minister has given the reply that you may know.
Yeah.
That regarding the alert, everything. The whole Chief Minister made statement. So this is the time to stand unitedly to face this tough situation. So I don't know Amit Shah had made such statements. They are making this issue also political. This is not a political issue. This is not the time to blame each other. So we are asking to the viewers who is watching.
Right. Mr. Jamshid, my last question to you, sir. Do we have an idea about the numbers of people who could still be trapped, or, is the rescue operation still on? What is your assessment of the ground situation in Wayanad?
Look, nearly 200 people has lost their life. Rescue operations are going on. Many of the people are in the rescue camps. The entire state, the entire Malayali diaspora is standing along with the Wayanad people. Rescue operations, they are giving food, they are giving money, and also the medical team are doing operations. So the existing people, we have to support the people who are badly injured. That type of works are going on. The people who is watching NDTV, I appeal to the nation, I appeal to the people who is watching NDTV to stand with Kerala, stand with Wayanad. We need fund allocation. So NDTV also speak to centre, give support, financial support to state government. Then we need fund, because only through the financial support the state can overcome this tough situation.
Right.
So We are appealing to the people who is watching NDTV to stand with Kerala, stand with Wayanad. This is not man-made. This is natural calamity. So I don't know why the unfortunate statement comes from the Home Minister. So the Home Minister should comment in a mature manner. I think that his statement is very immature.
Okay.
And once again, I'm repeating, this is the time not to blame each other. So the center wants to support state government. What are the measures in their hand? They give support to state to overcome. The rest thing we can discuss later. What are the things we can discuss later? But in this time, at this juncture, is not the time to blame each other. That was my comment.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shamsher, for joining us on NDTV. Back to Henry. Henry, you were telling us how, I was asking you how the UPA government has also been blamed for rejecting recommendations. UDF has also been in power, in Kerala several times. So clearly there is some accountability that Congress has in this tragedy.
Actually, I would just go along with the sentiments that right now is not the time to discuss what policy measures have been taken. I know there have been incidents where lack of action has actually contributed to worsening of the situation. We have to admit to that. But even in Parliament, the Congress, for example, Jairam Ramesh has raised this issue at 0 hour, asking to implement the Gadgil Committee report instead of the Kasturi Rangan, which is a more watered-down version of this report. But it does not happen from the center also, because in equal measure, I think everybody is to be blamed for that. But on the other side, the pressure of human development and the pressure of the human enterprises which are already there, that is also playing on in the ground level. So the local pressure from the church, the local pressure from the farming community, the local pressure from the populace there, and the cost of human development, that is the counter side to the story.
Right.
So Gadgil Committee report, while it was a pure report in terms of the environmental impact, it had serious repercussions as far as the human cost is involved. So that had to be taken into account when we actually went into the implementation of this. That is why perhaps the Kasturi Rangan report was implemented and not the Gadgil Committee report. But in hindsight, we have to admit that perhaps we ought to have been more cautious about this. Because every political party, and I think nobody can escape from the blame. Everybody is involved. Everybody has some share in this tragedy. So I think that is a viewpoint on that particular aspect. But coming back to the issue of today, this politicization of this issue is regrettable. I would laud the central government for acting properly and deploying the army as well as the NDRF to the situation. They are doing laudable work, admirable work, in fact. They were on the ground first and they have initiated a lot of, and they have rescued more than 1,000 people, which is an amazing feat. And the Kerala police and the fire force and the local populace as well as volunteers are also, they are braving the inclement weather to, fight over this tragedy. So that is what is going on now. Right. And politics is in the back door now.
Okay, let me ask this question to the political expert there. Anand, you've covered, the politics of Kerala for a long time, better than so many others I know. Tell us, from Vaman Jayanti to COVID management to now flood management, we have seen the centre and Kerala government being at odds with each other. How do you see the political play out over something like this? Because Kerala has repeatedly suffered from natural disasters, but of course now some people are calling it man-made, some people are calling it natural disaster. You heard what the speaker had to say, and of course you also heard what the Home Minister had to say today. This is not new, but clearly coming at a time like this, how do you assess this?
I think, the politics aside, what is happening is something that Kerala can't take so many disasters in so few years. So in the last 7 years, I think there have been so many landslides and there have been so many natural disasters that Kerala is actually moving from one to the other. So it's actually tragic that sitting in Kerala, we have to bear with all this, and places like Wayanad, districts like Wayanad and Idukki, the high ranges are seeing these kinds of issues happening over and over again. While politicians say that this is a natural tragedy, I mean, regardless of which side, whether it's the BJP, Congress, or the CPM, these are all, to an extent, man-made. In the sense, I was just listening to Professor Madhav Gadgil. I clearly remember the impact of his study the church, the CPM, the Congress, the BJP, everybody in Kerala ganged up against Madhav Gadgil and the local Congress MP P.T. Thomas. He was singled out. He was every Congress leader ganged up against him, saying that he was betraying the party because he stood with, he backed the Gadgil Commission report. And I don't think most people have read the Gadgil Committee recommendations. So he had the ESA 1, ESA 2, ESA 3. So it was not, he was not asking for people to move out of or constructions to be stopped entirely in all the regions. He just had, he put people at the center of it, saying that the Gram Sabhas and the local panchayat level committees should have the final say. And this was all obfuscated by all these parties and the church, and they continuously, made a villain out of Madhav Gadgil. So when every disaster strikes Kerala today, Madhav Gadgil, Professor Gadgil can come in on TV and say, "See, I told you so." This is happening, and it's so sad that it's repeating again and again after so many years.
Okay.
So
Right. Anil,
yeah.
would you like to respond to this? Because, there is, of course, the left politics that is playing out. I know this is the time to also focus on the rescue work, which is what the central agencies are doing. But would you say that, the behavior of the center when it comes to politics of the state is something that would be like a statesman? Because clearly there is some blame game that is happening. And do you think that the center could actually stay away from that right now, for now at least?
I would say that it's not the time to pin the blame on anybody. I think
let me get Anil on this because he's the BJP spokesperson. Anil, would you say that this is also probably a time for the center to help the state with as much possible, and also because we've just had the budget and there was a lot of talk about flood management, and there was a lot of talk about how Bihar got possibly a large attention when it comes to flood management, but Kerala is also a state that has been witnessing floods for many years now. Anil Anthony, unmute yourself, please. Okay, we are not able to hear you. Let me take that question to Anand. You were saying something. Please continue. Please go on.
Okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. Like, this is not a time for politicization at all. And but as I remember, like, one of my esteemed panelists actually saying that everybody had to blame, and that is not true. Because you look at this particular scenario also, within 7 to 10 days before the tragedy happened, the central government did warn the state. And immediately after the tragedy, our NDRF, our armed forces are all on the ground. Plus, our Prime Minister and our central government has announced compensation, 2 lakhs for victims' families and 50,000 for injured. So whatever we can do, we have done. And that is all we can do. But at the same time, when somebody says that Mr. Jairam Ramesh has already spoken on the parliament on the implementation of the Gadgil report, etc., it is again the routine Congress whataboutery, because you look at where it comes from. The entire Gadgil report, and the panel was sanctioned by the UPA government.
Okay, let me take that question again to Henry. Henry, it's just not the Gadgil report. There's an ISC expert report in 2018 that also found that the likelihood of landslides in Kerala is 3 times higher, specifically because of the infrastructure creation. Kerala has been ruled by successive either LDF or UDF, and Rahul Gandhi has remained the Wayanad MP for the last 5 years. Do you think that there is some more ownership of the place that the UDF could be taking, considering that this time also you've had, maximum MPs from there, just one for the BJP and one for the LDF?
See, I think you have to put this into perspective, because if you look at the pattern which has unfolded in the last 20 years, right from 2004 onwards, if you look at the Kerala's topography, we have the highlands, we have the midlands and the coastal area. And all 3 areas have been alternately be affected by natural disasters. So it is just not the highlands alone which have been affected. If you look at 2004, we had the tsunami, which hit all the coastal areas. Then 2018, we had the massive floods, which affected the midland areas. And 2019, we had floods again, but which affected the highland areas with landslides, especially in Wayanad area. And now in 2024, again, we have got a huge landslide occurring. Now, there is another place in Calicut which is the lower stream, downstream area of Wayanad, which it's called Velappillad. That area has also been afflicted by landslide, but that has not come into the news because of the massive destruction which is happening in Wayanad.
Okay.
So natural disasters have been rocking Kerala for the last 20 years, one after the other. So you cannot just play the report and say
just last
that
10
report
seconds,
alone
where
is
lies the
sacrosanct.
responsibility, sir?
See, I am telling you,
Anand,
as far as laws,
yes.
yeah.
Anand.
Vasudha, can you repeat the question?
Where lies the responsibility? Because, either everyone is saying that all of us are responsible or people are saying that nobody is responsible for this. So where lies the responsibility when it comes to accountability?
I don't think I can, I wouldn't blame the state government entirely because these warnings from IMD keep coming every now and then. The Home Minister, I think, was referring to the IMD warning. And he says the NDRF troops were sent, but then the Chief Minister today claims that it was the state that asked for it. So I don't know.
So clearly the blame game continues even as death toll also increases with every victim's body being recovered from the mud. Thank you all of you for joining me on this show. There are relief camps working, but clearly it will take a long time for families that have incurred losses to be up on their feet again. We are on ground there. My colleague Pratibha Raman is covering this tragedy from Wayanad. Keep watching NDTV for more news and updates.